welcome to another deep dive. In any organization, things don't always go as planned, right? Today, we're zeroing in on what happens when those hiccups occur, specifically looking at deviations from established processes and those non-conformances that everyone wants to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about making sure quality and safety stay top-notch. And the stuff you've gathered for this deep dive, it's really got us covered on multiple fronts. You've got pharmaceutical manufacturing, lab practices, and even clinical trials. We're going to be tapping into some pretty heavy hitters, like the regulations from 21 CFR, parts 110, 111, and 211, as well as best practices straight from the industry on GMP and quality systems.
You want to get up to speed quickly but thoroughly, and that's exactly our mission today. We're going after the crucial stuff, the need-to-knows when it comes to identifying, documenting, investigating, and ultimately fixing those deviations. It's all about maintaining the integrity of those processes and making sure the products are top tier. So let's kick things off with a foundational element, the importance of clear procedures.
Absolutely. I think the best way to put it is you've got these established processes, often documented as standard operating procedures. SOPs, think of those as the rule book. And anytime there's a departure from those written instructions, bam, that's a deviation.
So SOPs, they're not just suggestions then.
Oh, not at all. I mean, they're the backbone of consistent operations, whether we're talking about the manufacturing floor or the lab. They lay out those step-by-step instructions crystal clear, and they define who's responsible for what. And crucially, they include a revision history, so everyone's always on the same page with the most up-to-date approved method. You don't want people winging it, especially in these highly regulated environments.
Right, you need that accountability. But then, what about when a deviation actually happens? How do organizations catch those and make sure everything's documented properly?
Okay, so that's where good documentation practices come in, GDP. And timely reporting is absolutely crucial here. Everyone involved, from the lab technician to the operator on the line, needs to understand if something isn't right, flag it, no matter how small it seems.
Don't hesitate.
Exactly. Hesitation can lead to bigger problems down the road. And when it comes to documentation, details are king. Who spotted the deviation, what exactly went wrong, when it happened, where it happened in the half. You need that clear, accurate, and traceable record. Think of it like a super detailed incident report, painting the full picture for later investigation.
Okay, so we got our deviation, it's documented. What's next?
Well, now we're talking about investigating these non-conformances. And the heart of it, the real key, is root cause analysis. You can't just stop at the surface level. You have to dig deep and figure out why that deviation happened in the first place.
So it's not enough to just say, oh, the equipment malfunctioned.
Nope, you gotta go deeper than that. You ask why, and then you ask why again and again. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. The 5 whys technique, it sounds simple, but it can be really effective in getting to that root cause.
Okay, and I've heard CAPA mentioned a lot in this context. Where does corrective and preventive action fit into all this?
CAPA is critical. Think of it as a system, a framework for tackling the problem. You identify the problem, you do that deep dive root cause analysis, and then you put things in place to address it. Corrective actions tackle the immediate issue, while preventive actions aim to stop it from happening again.
So you're not just putting out fires, but preventing them in the future.
Precisely. A robust CAPA system is both reactive and proactive. It's about fixing what's broken, but also analyzing trends, looking at near misses, and addressing potential issues before they become full-blown deviations. That's the sign of a mature and effective quality system.
And how does all this play out in real-world scenarios? Are there common examples of deviations and how they're handled in different settings?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at a few. In labs, you might see deviations like using an unapproved test method, contamination in a sample because environmental controls weren't up to par, or equipment that's out of calibration. That YouTube video on 21 CFR 111, the one about GMP laboratory overview, it really highlighted how crucial it is for those SOPs to be super specific, detailing things like chemical safety protocols and data reporting. And the lab facility itself needs to be designed to allow for thorough cleaning to prevent cross-contamination. That's all part of minimizing deviations.
So even seemingly simple things like how a lab is laid out can play a role. What about in critical trials? Those are highly regulated, right?
Oh yeah, big time. In a clinical trial, anytime you deviate from the approved protocol, that's a red flag. The sponsors of those trials, they have a huge responsibility to monitor for those deviations and to make sure the investigators are following the agreement they signed and all those regulations. 21 CFR Part 312 lays it all out. If a sponsor finds out an investigator isn't playing by the rules, they have to act quickly and decisively, whether that means putting corrective actions in place at the site or even ending the investigator's involvement in the study altogether. Patient safety and data integrity are paramount.
What about something like packaging and labeling? Seems pretty straightforward, but I'm guessing there are still plenty of opportunities for things to go wrong.
Oh, you bet. You need detailed procedures for labeling and packaging to avoid mix-ups and make sure the right materials are being used for each product, whether it's a prescription drug or a dietary supplement. 21 CFR, Parts 111 and 211, they're very specific about this. Before anything's used in production, those packaging and labeling materials have to be examined and documented. You catch any errors early on, you prevent a potential defect or recall down the line.
It sounds like regulatory agencies, like the FDA, are paying very close attention to all of this. What are some of their key expectations when it comes to handling deviations and non-conformances?
They're really focused on it. I mean, the FDA sees this whole thing as a cornerstone of ensuring product quality and patient safety. If you don't identify, document, investigate, and resolve those deviations properly, they can take action.
And what kind of action are we talking about?
Well, one thing they might do after an inspection is issue observations on Form FDA 483. Now, it's important to remember, as they emphasized in that FDA clinical investigator training course video, a 483 is basically a list of observations the investigator has about potential deviations from regulations. The FDA then looks at those and decides if they're actual regulatory violations.
So it's not a formal citation, but it's definitely a signal that you need to take things seriously.
Exactly. And you need to respond to a 483 quickly, usually within 15 business days. You show the FDA you acknowledge the observations and you're committed to fixing things. Usually that involves laying out a detailed KP plan, showing how you're going to correct and prevent those issues from happening again. Even if it takes longer than 15 days to actually implement and verify the plan, having a clear roadmap with timelines and a commitment to ongoing monitoring shows the FDA you're on top of it.
This has been incredibly insightful. It's clear that managing deviations and nonconformances is a pretty complex but essential part of maintaining quality and safety in so many different industries.
Absolutely. It's not just a box-checking exercise. It's about weaving these practices into the very fabric of your operations, creating a culture of continuous improvement by really focusing on clear procedures, meticulous documentation, thorough root cause analysis, effective CAPA plans, continuous monitoring, and proactive risk management. Organizations can go beyond simply reacting to problems. They can learn from them, prevent them, and ultimately ensure that they're delivering safe, high-quality products every time.
From everything we've discussed today, what do you think is the most crucial element of effectively handling deviations? Is it the initial detection and reporting, the root cause analysis, the implementation of the corrective actions, or something else entirely?
That's a great question. All those elements are interconnected, and they all play a vital role. But if I had to pick one, I'd say the most crucial element is conducting a thorough and accurate root cause analysis. If you don't understand the underlying reasons why a deviation occurred, any actions you take might just be scratching the surface. They might not be effective in preventing the same issue from cropping up again. But when you delve deep and uncover that root cause, you gain the knowledge you need to make meaningful and lasting improvements.
It's about getting to the heart of the problem, not just addressing the symptoms.
Exactly. And for anyone wanting to dive deeper into this, I'd highly recommend checking out the ICH guidelines on quality risk management, that's Q9, and the specific requirements in 21 CFR Parts 211 and 111. Those cover finished pharmaceuticals and dietary supplements, respectively. Really understanding those resources can provide so much valuable context and practical insights. It's a fascinating area full of opportunities to learn and improve.
Absolutely, and lots to think about. Thanks for taking the time to join me for this deep dive.
My pleasure. It was great to be here.